This is new for me, so I'm really excited. Well, when I don't know. I was gonna say they're all highly reflective, but I'm not gonna know how people are gonna treat my thoughts unless I actually share them. That's a sort of person. So the open mic nights have actually helped. I've shifted, hopefully, from being more religious to more spiritual, right? Just more open. So I just feel like I have so much potential for it. Like I feel like
Right.
if I
Yeah,
really
that's
tried
good.
hard.
Welcome to Art Talk Connect. I am Frey, and we have LEMONA BONNERAE today for episode 12 of the show. She is an amazing writer, and we're going to talk more about her journey from introversion to extroversion and her writings and stuff. And hopefully, she gives you some good tips on how to get out there more and get out of your shell. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn it to her and she's going to tell her backstory.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Frey. That is high praise. Thank you so much for having me on your show. This is new for me, so I'm really excited. I've been writing, especially poetry, since I was fairly young.
Mm.
I'm terrible at keeping track of times, but like a tweenie or teenager for sure is when I really started writing more. I literally have a one of those like old school like binders that you might get for school, like packed full of poems.
Right.
A lot of them from when I was a teenager, but also in my 20s when I was in college. Whatever I could fit in there, I guess. It grew over time, and I don't have as much experience writing stories. I have a few like super duper short stories in there too. Nothing serious. I just recently started writing poetry again, like literally this year, after a hiatus. And I've always dreamed of writing like a longer book. Let me say that I've always wanted to at least have one published book of poems, but
Mm.
I've also always wanted to have, like, maybe a novel published or some type of other book besides poetry.
So, how do you compare your older works from when you were younger to your newer works?
So, this may or may not be relevant. I think it's no, it is relevant. So, I grew up very conservative and religious. I've shifted, hopefully, from being more religious to more spiritual, right? Just more open. So,
Mhm.
in some respects at least. Um, so anyway, I think my poetry from when I was younger, it shows some of uh more of like the religious conservative place I came from. My poems from when I was younger don't push envelopes as much. They're not as in your face. Their language is actually some of them are a little bit more classical
Mm.
in style, or like following certain formats, like certain styles of certain poetical structures I learned in school and stuff. Um, and my most recent poems, I for me, because of where I've come from, they feel more edgy and more grassrootsy and sometimes push the envelope a bit compared to where I came from. I'm not sure about people from like a non-religious context if they would even consider them that, but it feels like it to me.
You said your religious background influenced your earlier works. Were there any like authors or anything that you were drawn to that influenced your work?
Well, I got a book of poetry from a friend in college that I just fell in love with the way the person wrote her poetry. And it's the poet's or poetess, if I want to be technical. Poetess's name is Sarah Teasdale, and she lived, oh boy, I'm terrible with time in general. Late 1800s, I think it was maybe early 1900s might be more accurate. And she had like a tragic death and stuff. So her poems just, I really liked how they flowed really well. And like when she would rhyme her poems, how they rhymed, it was almost musical and ethereal in nature, I thought. And like a lot of the content of her poems, at least in this particular book that I read, had some element of like of whimsy or the wonders of life, even though she had an actual like tragic life in real life. Which is interesting, but it feels like her poetry should try to focus on happier things.
Mhm.
Maybe to help get her through. That's my theory. But um, like
So
a I have a poem that I wrote in her honor, like, but I mean, I took some poetry related courses in college because I was an English major in college. So I I did honestly, I'm not as well versed in poetry as I would like to be, or that I would like people to think I am, if I'm completely honest. Which I'm very honest. So, but so like I did, like the overview style class. But yeah, Wordsworth and Byron and like those poets, I really enjoyed what I read by them. Also, I don't know if I really, because he's kind of, I feel like he's just out of my league, but John Milton from like the 1800s in England became his poem Paradise Lost became super popular, I think around that time. And I mean, I don't think it's very popular now in the modern times you live in, but for people that still have those kinds of interests in older literature, I I just remembered learning about him in one of my classes in college and just being so impressed, not just with his ability to write poetry, but he wrote other works too that weren't poetry at all, and he tried to live his life with integrity, which I just found really impressive. I don't know, it just his what I learned about his life also really stood out to me. And then there was one other thing I wanted to mention was Canterbury Tales by Chaucer is another like well-known older piece of poetic literature that I did some study on in college as well. And that also made an impression on me. I don't remember it because it was in Old English and I don't remember it now, but I remember it did make an impression on me that was inspiring just because of how good it was. Yeah, so those are some examples.
now, what kind of themes do you think are like reoccurring in your poems? Whether
Mm,
earlier works and like earlier works carrying over into your newer works. Like, do you
mm,
have any themes that
mm.
continue to be the main one?
Oh, I definitely can say for the most recent ones clearly. See, because the I don't want to jump ahead too much, but but this is just the easiest way I was thinking I could answer your question. So my previous poems I have compiled into a collection that I'm working on getting published, which I'm so excited about because that's like a dream come true for me. That's actually
Mhm.
happening like soon. Like I'm hoping it'll be out by January.
Mhm.
At the latest, I'm hoping. I'm just waiting on my artist mostly for that. For the cover art. So I have it split into sections because
Mm,
it's a collection. So I have a section of like poems I wrote during college, which there's a bit of a range for
yeah.
those,
Mhm.
like personal musings, but also, but mostly, well, when I don't know. I was gonna say they're all highly reflective, but I feel like most poetry is in general, so that might not be specific enough. um, but yeah, so I have poems about like my some of my travels from college and some like more like emotional style poems that deal with like the heart or like the emotions and the mind. And then there's a section of like basically the random poems because I didn't know like where else to put them in the collection. I
Mhm.
mean, ranging from like poems about nature to oh geez, just other random things that yeah, I didn't know where else to put. And then I have some poems of the heart, so like mostly emotional or like inner world poems and like really deep emotional stuff. And then I have a very small section of like what I thought I could call spiritual poems, either about like my relationship to God, or actually there's a couple where it's supposed to be God speaking to humans
Mm.
directly.
Mm.
Um, that's the best way. I don't, yeah, I feel like there is a pretty wide range there. But my newest poems, actually, I'm so excited. I already know what I'm going to call my second collection of poems because I already have enough technically to have like a small collection published of my most current poems just from this year. They just started coming so quickly for whatever reason. But I think a definite theme for those ones is freedom. Just becoming so much more free to be myself, to find myself, to speak what I actually think about things. Not that I didn't do that in my other poems when I started, because I did.
Mhm,
But again, these ones are just an edgier more version, I think. Of, and also, so like how I talk about things is different. Maybe more mature too, like more adult and
mhm,
uh, than in the past. And yeah, freedom absolutely is like a huge theme for a lot of my new poems.
mm. Ah, very nice, yeah. Hmm.
I like
Um,
to think of myself
okay.
and my life as the overused
Yeah.
image of a flower blooming
Mhm.
over time. So
Gotcha.
I bloom more and more gradually over time. That's how it has felt to me with how
Mhm.
my life has been based on my own reflection of it, and that's kind of what I want. Like, I just to me, that's like a gradual, like, progression, like, in a good way, to keep opening like a
So
flower.
it's like, you would say like a life journey type poetry style.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm. Very cool. So go through like your routine for writing. Do you like get some tea and listen to some meditation music to relax you and then like jump into it, or you just like put out a book and start scribbling and then organize it later? Like, what's your process?
Mhm. So I m touched on it earlier, but for my first collection of poems, I typed them all up. I picked out the ones I thought were good enough to publish and
Mm,
typed them all up on a laptop, from, like, the actual, like, paper that had been printed out. And then my newest poems, all of them are currently in my phone, in my notes app, and, if I get what I feel is an inspirational line or thought for one of these poems soon as I possibly can, which fortunately somehow is most of the time, which I don't know how that's been working because I'm so busy and so much going on. But anyway, somehow I've made the time for this is because I have so much going on that I'm afraid if I don't put it down immediately, I'll lose it. I'll forget. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to retrieve it because retrieval's never been my strong point. So, so yeah, so I put it in my notes app and then I just work on them as I have time.
gotcha.
If 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, maybe 15 or 20 if I'm lucky. Fortunately, they usually come to me quickly enough that s- I can get like, I don't know, I'm not good with math either, but like, I don't know, like, I've anywhere from 3 to 5 poems a week sometimes, like, in a good week. Like, they just come so fast. Sometimes it almost feels like I'm writing a poem a day, but I don't think it's quite there, although that's been recommended to me in the past, just for the sheer, practice, if nothing else. But yeah, so that's and so once I have a certain number for my newest collection that I want to also get published, then I'll sit down and type them all up, in a Word document like I did for the first one.
Very cool. So would you say it's more when the mood hits you, or you kind of just forcing yourself to write until you come up with something like you're happy with?
I maybe a little bit of a mix of both. I feel like the initial inspiration
Mm,
I feel like inspiration is so hard to explain in English or any language. I mean, how do you explain something so mysterious? I have no idea. Um, I'll just get like a line or a thought or an image occasionally that'll be like, this needs to be a poem. Like, I need to write about this. Sometimes I'll know why in the moment, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, that just sounds really good. Like, I could go somewhere with this. I don't know how better to explain it, but I think especially with my newer well, some of my older poems too, but especially my newer ones, they're very rhyming. They have a lot of rhyming,
mhm.
which is a very deliberate choice. Um, so yeah, sometimes I'm like on my phone, thesaurus for this word or synonyms, or what rhymes. Like sometimes I can think of a rhyme easily, but sometimes I can't. So then I'll like, okay, what are all the words that have the same ending as this word that I really want to rhyme with, and can I make it work? And I like the challenge of seeing if I can make it work. a lot, actually. So, yeah, there is a lot of, I don't wanna say forcing, that sounds like such a strong word, but, I mean, I guess it kind of is, yeah. Um, it is a bit more of a, um, deliberate structure until I get what I want, until have the wording for what I wanna say and how I wanna say it, and also make it rhyme. Yeah.
And how do you know when the poem is actually finished?
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah. I took a couple of poetry classes, and I'm sure we went over that a bit. I'm sure I know we did, but I don't have a lot of language to explain how I know it's done because I've thought about that.
He came with hope. So we took him. 'Cause in order to keep order, hope can't live here. Only fear will suffice. Welcome to Violet.
I don't know how to explain how I know a poem is done. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I get a feeling of satisfaction, like, okay, I've said what I need to say. I don't need to prolong the point here. Like, that's so vague. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'll end a poem with a question to the
gotcha.
reader or if listener, if I'm reading them out loud, because my newest poems are more spoken wordish, like probably preferable to hear them read aloud, except that I think they're good enough and it's not unusual, for spoken word poems to be published as well in print. So I mean it's still valuable in print. So um all I know to say is have I said all that I feel I need to say? And I'll
No,
usually get a a feeling of like, okay, yeah, this is good enough where it's at. Like, I don't need to keep going. I can just the trickle has ended. Let's go to the next one.
kinda more like a just, uh, internal feeling, like intuition, I guess, something like
I
that.
think so. Yeah, I don't know
Mhm.
how else to say it. Yeah.
What was one poem that you felt was scary for you to write, but you felt you needed to express that emotion?
Piling through here.
I know you got so many.
Um, I don't even remember if I included this one in my first collection or not. I literally have to go check. But I think I might have called the poem Loneliness. I think so. So yeah, I think it was the to help me express the emotions I was feeling when my dad left when I was 12. I'm pretty sure. And I think I wrote it in school. That's what my memory's telling me, but it's so long ago, and I'm not one of those people to, like, hold on to the past, if I don't feel like I need to, so, yeah, so I don't try to remember stuff in general, which isn't always good, but, um, yeah, I mean, because it was so emotional at the time, it was so raw, and, I mean, it was obviously super therapeutic to write it, but it was a little scary, yeah, just 'cause, yeah, how emotional it was at the time.
Now, what made you want to start sharing your work publicly instead of keeping it privately to yourself?
Okay, this is a little interesting. I have shared it a teeny bit in the past, but nothing excessive. Like I think I won a couple of poetry awards in
Oh, wow.
school.
Cool.
Middle school, I won once or twice. Trying to remember if it was also in high school. Um, and I only remember the one getting the award, and then I was typing up for my first book, and I was like, "Oh, this other poem has like something." I made a note or something on it that showed that like it had won or something, and I was trying to remember. I was like, "Oh yeah, I did enter this one in something somewhere. I don't remember when, but it got an award or something. Yeah, like second or third place or something. I think for
No big
both of
deal,
them."
Oh, almost won the whole thing, no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean, I don't keep track very well.
Right.
So
Got
that
like a
gave
trophy
a cool
shelf.
oh, I'm sorry?
So you got like a trophy shelf. You're like,
Oh,
oh,
right.
these old things, you know.
Yeah, right. I mean, literally, the whole binder was stored away for quite a long time. But, yeah, so, but I did that, and, but then I don't think I entered after like, I definitely don't remember entering any written work. I don't or if I did, I didn't win after that, like, after I wanna say after high school, yeah. I did win, in college, we did, like, a poetry read aloud contest or whatever for fun,
Mhm.
which, of course, I loved and I threw myself into, and I don't remember the whole poem, but it was about bubble wrap. It was just a silly, fun poem. Wait, did I write it or did someone else write it? I don't actually remember. I think someone else wrote it and I memorized it. I think that's what I did. And I brought in bubble wrap as a prop and I won like, I don't know, one of the places. That was fun.
Right.
It was just I loved it. I'd love to do that again. But and now I'm I have to reel myself in here. And then the other I was gonna answer it. What was the question again? There was something else I wanted to add. I'm so glad you're laughing. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm glad you find it
Yes,
amusing.
it is. The question was,
I just got a little too far off track. I couldn't remember the original question quite right.
what made you start sharing your work publicly instead
Oh,
of
that's right.
keeping it private?
Yeah. Um, yeah, like I feel like you would think that winning, for poetry is kind of a big deal and like, oh, like maybe I should do more with this. But I mean, I was pretty young too when that
Right.
happened. Wasn't even in high school yet. And you don't know you don't know who you are as much when you're that young. It takes a while to figure that out. So, um getting to a point internally where I felt like I was worth it and like
Mm,
worth sharing it, but also that I also need to come to a place internally where I was willing to let other people see it because I have for so long I've been the type of person to feel like with how I grew up and stuff, I just hardly ever I didn't feel like I had a lot of moments where I could like share what I really thought about things, so I
mm,
just would keep it all inside. I just got so used to that and feel like I needed to preserve my inner world, and my poems felt like an extension of my inner world. So they were like precious to me, and I didn't know how to share them or if I should or could
right.
for a really long time. And then I mean, just within the last year or two, I've been just making a lot of progress in that, being like, I'm not gonna know how people are gonna treat my thoughts unless I actually share them. That's
Yeah.
a novel thought. So
There you go.
let's try. So yeah, and for me, yeah, I guess for me, poetry, and it's like super personal. So
Mm,
I mean, it's definitely one of my, I guess, easier or more used avenues to share like my authentic self. Not that I don't, I always try to be authentic, but in every way, but no matter what. But yeah, it's just a little easier, I guess, through that.
so recently you've been doing open mic nights.
Mhm.
What was your first thought about that when you stepped on the stage? Like what was going through your head?
I was a little nervous. I had done a spoken word performance in the years past, but it
Mm,
was like just once or twice. Maybe 3, yeah, it was, like, less a handful of times, just scattered, it wasn't consistent thing that I, like, built up over time or something.
right.
I didn't pursue it seriously enough at that time. So, yeah, so, yeah, I took a super long hiatus, and then, like I said earlier, and then, um, yeah, I was a little nervous, but actually really excited to just be able to share because I finally felt ready.
For me personally, it's still a thing where it's just like when I
Mm,
get in front of a crowd, I'm kind of like, and then I'm like, I want to run, but I'm like, nope, go through it. So it's like,
mhm.
was there any ways maybe you did maybe techniques or anything like that to kind of build your confidence to get there where you're comfortable in front of a crowd?
For me, it's just been more of a matter of just my growth as a person over time that's helped me get to the point where I can without like super freaking out.
Mm,
Because I remember in college speech class, I didn't it was hard. I mean, I didn't have anything too excessive with, like, anxiety, being in front of crowds, but, like, I didn't really enjoy it, but
Right.
also maybe I didn't get to share fully on something that I was passionate about. So I think
Mhm.
that because I'm passionate about poetry as an art form, that really helps me get over any nervousness I feel, and if it's a like, honestly, I mean, I work full time, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I have a lot going on,
Right.
um, like, I for my most recent open mics, I haven't even, like, memorized them to officially perform, even though that is probably preferred, but I'm just like, "I'm too tired right now," like, I'm just gonna read it off my phone and try to be somewhat expressive. Someday when have my head screwed on a little bit straighter, like, I'm gonna try to actually memorize to perform. I do wanna get to that point. But, um so having it well memorized also helps. Like, okay, like I've planned this, I have done my work, like I just have to trust it's gonna come to me. And
Right.
I'm still very spiritual, so like I always usually say a little prayer beforehand as well
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
whatever it's worth or whatever it will help me.
It is. Yeah.
I would want to, if I can throw in a little bit of like wisdom nugget here
Yeah.
from Lamona Bonner, whatever it's worth. Uh, is just like, uh, don't give up on the process,
Mm.
because that's really that's been the answer for me. It hasn't been any specific technique that I practice, it's just allowing myself to become the better version of myself.
Right.
Like, and if I don't allow that process, then I won't actually make that progress that I want. So I have to
Gotcha.
be open to it.
Would you say you maybe took like incremental steps? Maybe like, you go on Instagram Live and you read a poetry there, and then it's like, maybe you start filming YouTubes and you do that, and then it's like finally get yourself. Did you take incremental steps, or you just kind of threw yourself out into the wolves?
Yeah, I've always tended to be an incremental steps sort of person, I think. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, well, especially for my newest poems. Well, actually, no, we need to count the collection. Yeah. So the collection of poems was like the initial, like, okay, we're really doing this.
Hmm.
Like typing up those poems was like, I've decided, like, I'm not waiting anymore to do this. Like, I'm not waiting any longer to get myself out into the world. Like, this needs to happen. If I don't do it now, I don't know when I'm going to do it. And yeah, and then from there, um, then with my newest poems, yeah, just even having them typed up on my phone it feels like a big deal. And then I'm still super horrible in posting on social media because I've never enjoyed social media or technology. I just never have. I'm not on I'm not on the social media platforms a lot, because it's just not my thing. But I know that I need to do it more to build my presence on there. But because I'm an in-person sort of person, so the open mic nights have actually helped be like, "Oh yeah, I need to post more." Like they've helped me post more than if I wouldn't have done them.
Right. Gives you content and everything.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you feel like you're starting to actually grow maybe like fans or like people that are looking forward to your work?
In a very small way, yes.
Mhm. Like,
Yes. I have like my coworkers,
mm.
oh, they're so lovely. My coworkers, like they seem at least somewhat interested. Like I asked their opinion on my book cover art
Right.
in my book cover art choosing process.
Mm.
I didn't go with the most popular one, but I did take it into serious consideration.
Mm.
Um, and um, and like the one in particular enjoys poetry, so and like a few friends and the family members. I did have a couple people, excuse me, sorry, myself wasn't too loud. Reach out to me online, to thank me for the poems, and that was like super encouraging too. So I just feel like I have so much potential for it. Like I feel
Right.
like if I
Yeah,
really
that's
tried
good.
hard, it might actually go somewhere.
That's good. I'm gonna pull up your Instagram before. it cuts out
Oh,
here.
my palt my paltry Instagram.
Yes, that's
Mm,
right.
but it's there. It's something.
There it is. There it is. Bam. Oh, look at those earrings.
Oh, yeah. I wanna do that more too, actually. Anytime I get new earrings because I just love earrings, like, so much. Uh, and that would be something that at least ladies would probably be interested in, but and
Gotcha.
then I can also give a shout out to the businesses, 'cause a lot of them are, like, indie made, so
Right. So, what is your final advice to people that are introverted but want to get out there? Like, what would you tell them to break out of their shell?
not to be too cliche, but, do it anyway. Kind of like a mind over matter as much as you're able to, even if it's just a small step, because small steps, like, they really can add up over time if you're especially if you're consistent, so that you can see the breakthrough, like, a literal breakthrough out of your shell that you want to see.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and then just maybe, like, how much do you really want it? Because I think desire also plays a part,
Mhm.
to help you be like, the more you want something, the more you find ways to make it happen.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. Can you tell everybody where
Yeah.
they can find you?
Hopefully, I can never remember. So, I think I'm I think I'm Lemon with Wings on Instagram. I think I'm literally going to double check here. This is how bad I am at this still. Yes, Lemon with Wings on Instagram, I
Yep.
believe. And then I'm Lemona BONNERAE on TikTok. And those are the two main platforms I'm using right now.
All righty. Well, we got to get you on for part two because I have a list of questions and we only got halfway through 'em.
Oh, geez. Sorry?
No, no, it's good. It's good that you had like a lot to say about the questions. I like it when y'all talk because it makes my job easier. I just get to sit here and listen.
Mhm.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again for your time, and
Absolutely.
we will see everybody next time.